And you know what the saddest thing is, in my opinion, is that there is a growing industry marketing and targeting our kids and teens while they know that there is an addiction and possible disorder attached to it. And there is no legal implications. It has actually been compared to the tobacco industry back in the early 1900s. It's a problem. And us parents, we have to step in and we have to be the ones that say no. Did you know that internet gaming disorder is a real thing? I'm not joking. In fact, the American Psychiatric Association says in the DSM-5, which is the manual that mental health care providers use when they're making a diagnosis, is a condition. So in this video, I'm going to share with you what internet gaming disorder is and the proposed symptoms, how I as a parent strive to keep their gaming time down to a minimum, preventing internet gaming disorder or really an addiction, and some positive parenting tips as well as links to educational material to help you understand this disorder and addiction even more, especially if you believe your son or daughter has a possible internet gaming disorder. I do want to mention that this is a collaboration which is hosted by Nina from Everyday Blessings. I will go ahead and put a link to their gaming struggle videos down in the description box below so you can get some more positive parenting tips. Now, according to the DSM-5, internet gaming disorder is not a unique mental disorder such as bipolar disorder or anxiety disorder or anorexia. It is a condition that needs to be looked into more. However, the World Health Organization stated in 2017 that in the revision of the International Classification of Diseases, the internet gaming disorder will be considered a disorder. Now, whether or not internet gaming disorder is an actual disorder or if it's just caused by some underlying conditions, it's obviously a problem. It's such a problem that in countries like China and North Korea, it is considered a disorder, and they actually have some treatment centers in place. In fact, in America, they actually do have some treatment centers in place, and I will go ahead and stick a link down to some of them in the description box below. Now, as a parent, you need to be aware of these conditions and addictions and disorders so that you can make those parenting choices that you need to make. And I will say right now, I am a parent. I am not a mental health care provider or a psychologist. And if you think that your child has a problem, you should seek them out and not just take my word for it. Now, with that aside, let's talk about what internet gaming disorder is, besides the obvious fact that it is an addiction to gaming. It's such an addiction to gaming that it causes significant impairment and distress in a person's life, whether in a child or an adult. And it is limited to gaming, whether it's online, offline, or if it's on your smartphone or tablet. But it's not online gambling, which is a whole different thing in and of itself. And it's not being addicted to the internet or being addicted to your smartphone. It is strictly gaming. So in order for it to be classified as internet gaming disorder, it has to have 5 of these symptoms occurring within a year in a 12-month period. And these symptoms include being preoccupied with gaming. You can't think of anything else. Withdrawal symptoms when gaming is taken away, such as sadness, anxiety, or depression. You need to spend more time gaming in order to satisfy some urge. They are unable to quit gaming no matter how many failed attempts they've made. They've given up activities and they have a loss in other activities due to their gaming addiction. They continue to game despite problems. They deceive family members and other friends about how long they spend gaming. They use gaming to relieve negative emotional moods such as hopelessness and guilt. They jeopardize losing a job or a relationship, or they have lost a job and relationship due to gaming. Now remember, you have to have 5 of these symptoms within a 1-year period in order to be considered having internet gaming disorder. Now, a study published in the American Journal of Psychiatry back in March of 2017 actually said that 0.3% to 1% of the general population actually have internet gaming disorder. And it is also shown that our children and teenagers will spend an average of 54 hours a week on video games. That's a lot of video games. Whether or not this is actually considered a disorder or not, I mean, really, it's a problem. And us parents, we need some parenting tips. Now, I am gonna give you some parenting tips, and I'm gonna share with you some of the things that I've done in my household to kind of, not have it so bad and not allow it to get out of control. Video games can be a blessing and a curse. And as a parent, I cannot see myself isolating my kids and keeping them away from video games. I mean, there is a lot of good stuff that comes out of video games. There's social skills. My kids get online and play games with their friends and talk. There's problem-solving skills, there's building skills, creativity skills, fine motor skills, hand-eye coordination. In fact, it's pretty well known now that the military is seeking out hardcore gamers to help fly some military drones, because they fly them better than real pilots do. Military also uses gaming to desensitize people so they're not afraid to shoot the enemy and it won't bother them. Okay, but just like when we were kids, our parents said, hey, when the street lights come on, y'all better come inside. We gotta do the same thing with gaming. We've gotta put some boundaries and time limitations to it. We're the parents. We're the gaming police. But you don't wanna get too strict on them because, they could grow up and totally rebel on us. And that is a whole nother discussion. And comment below if you think I should do that video. So here's some positive parenting tips for prevention. Keep them off the screen for as long as possible, and I'm meaning don't hand your baby an iPad when you're changing their diaper, and don't give your phone to your 2-year-old if you want them to eat, because they'll never eat without it. Keep the iPads, phones, TVs, screens out of their bedroom, always. Don't let them do it. Just don't. Just say that's just the house rule. We're not gonna do it. No, not happening here in this house. I know it's really hard. In fact, it's probably a really good idea to have them play games in front of you because you'll see what they're doing, you'll hear what they're saying when they're talking to their friend, and you know what, when it really annoys you, you'll be much more motivated to get them to turn it off and go outside. Trust me, it works. I don't want to be cooking dinner and hearing Minecraft music in the background. It gives me nightmares. Make them go outside and play. Yep, go outside. Let me do the dishes and play. Get them involved with sports or dance or scouts or theater or music or just really anything that's gonna get them out of the house and with a bunch of friends doing something productive. And encourage them when they're doing that, because if they have confidence in doing that, they're not gonna be wanting to play video games as much. Now, if your child is already addicted to video gaming and it is a problem and you wanna stop it, here are some positive parenting tips that you can implement now. When you're parenting a child who is addicted to video games, you have to understand that this is their culture. It is their culture. And whenever you're threatening somebody's culture, they're going to act out probably in aggression. And if you think this is a possibility, you should seriously consider some family counseling or some mental health care counseling for that child. Another thing that you can do is have a family intervention. You remember when you were young and you found out that your uncle or aunt was addicted to drugs and the entire family got together to have a family meeting where they stepped in and said, this has to stop right now and we are all holding you accountable. Of course they're gonna lash out in anger. Of course they're gonna be angry, but you know what? If you do something like that, you know that you're not the only adult that is standing up and saying no to this addiction. Once again, reach out to a mental health care provider as well as a family counselor. Something else you can do is start to observe to see if there are some deeper issues. Are they retreating to their room or to the screen to play video games just, because they're addicted to it? Or are they trying to escape something? Are you parents fighting so much that there is some tension in the household and there's yelling and your child is just trying to escape from that yelling to avoid that? Take note of that and deal with those issues as well. You want to get down to the heart of the issue, and there is something called cognitive behavioral therapy. Now, if this is something that you want to do, I really highly suggest that you check this out and do some more research online, and you will go through this with a mental health care professional. Now, in my home, my kids do play video games. I'm not going to shelter them from the culture or this world. I let them play video games. In fact, they get on their video games and they talk to their friend, and that's what kids do nowadays. Instead of using the phone, they just play Roblox together and talk about video game stuff. And That's what they do. However, I don't want it to become a problem or an addiction, and I'm gonna be quite honest, when I can't find that punishment for my kids, because I really need to give them a punishment, I can take away their video games. As a parenting tip for you guys. Now, I'll be honest, when I was a kid, we didn't have a video game console. And in fact, my dad wouldn't really let me play video games. However, my husband likes to play video games, and he has multiple video game consoles because they each play different games, I guess. That's what I'm told. But I will say, in our household, my husband and my boys bond tremendously over video games, despite the anger and frustration when they can't get what they want out of the game. I guess that's just how men connect. It's like a thing, I guess. Now, one thing we implement in our household is time limits. So my kids like to play their stuff on a phone. So what we've done is actually set up the phone so after a certain amount of time, it just kind of shuts off. Super easy. Once again, I am sticking down some links down below, so if you want to delve further into this internet gaming disorder, go ahead and do that. Until then, if you want to check out a really fun video on some activities you can do outside the house, check out that video over there. And if you just want a good laugh, check out that video here. Until then, I will see you in our next video. Bye!